Central Bank, Airborne Freight and Cargo Services, J.S. Johnson, and Fidelity Bank Bahamas.
Good afternoon, Bahamas, and welcome to the Head Back. I'm your host, Nahaja Black. It is a beautiful day here in the 242. I hope that you are doing well, taking care of yourself, and living your best life. I want to say a special happy birthday to my beautiful 8-year-old. She's been, oh my God, this girl has been trying to be 8 for a whole year. Now that she's finally turned 8, I'm thinking she should be 9. It's really very confusing dealing with these little people. But happy birthday to my wonderful little 8-year-old now. So seriously, she has the only birthday that is at the end of the year. So she's the only one, right? The only one at the end of the year with a birthday. So everyone is in the beginning of the year, February, March, April, July. Then there she comes. And so she's feeling all like she's special, but she doesn't like the fact that she is the last one to turn a certain age. So she's been 8 from she turned 7. And so we're all confused in the family. So it's a very disjointed thing. But happy birthday to the little lady, Naya. We love you. Hurry up, get a job, graduate university, get some work. Your mommy needs to cruise around the world. All right, just throw that out there. We got a good show for you today. Yesterday was a heavy show, and it will continue to be that way in country for a long time, I hope, that we are forced and pushed to make real changes that will move us forward, right? Any country where we don't meditate on the success of our children, the protection of our children, then we aren't really a real country, because that is fundamental to the success of a people. You cannot build a nation on broken pieces. How you put a foundation on sand or on twigs? If we want to go places, if we want to be a people that is transgenerational, then we build on the successes of all of our children. There's no your children and then my children. It is our children. We protect them so that when we talk about things like tourism today, which I'm excited to talk about with one of my favorite people, a woman that I've admired. She doesn't even know how much I admire her. She doesn't get it, but from afar, I always have her intelligence, her work. So I'm always happy when she joins me. But when we talk about tourism, we want to build on those successes. When we talk about housing, which we will in the second half of the show, a reimagined viewpoint on housing with my good friend C. Alan Johnson, how do we do that with our children in mind? And so these are things that are the reason why, every sad story should propel us to never want that story. So we got a good show for you today. I'm actually quite excited because there seems to be some good news. I like good news. Contrary to what you all think, I love good news. Good news is the only thing that really gives you hope. You got to go with the good news. So I'm reading the paper this morning, and my guest didn't tell me she would be in the paper this morning, but it's a Tuesday. I mean, why wouldn't she be in the paper? It's either Monday through Sunday. She might end up in the paper talking about good news with tourism. And tourism has been finding itself on an upward trend. We could say from the beginning, the ending of 2020 and beginning to tick up, right? So we were seeing this upward trend in tourism. And the question of rebounding, are we in a good place in space? None better to have this conversation with. No offense to the good new Minister of Tourism, but I always say go to the real professionals of the ministry. And there is none better to have a discussion of tourism with than the one and only, the illustrious Director General, Madam Joy Jibrilu. Joy, darling, how are you?
Nahaja, when you give a welcome like that, but before I even say anything about that, happy birthday to dear Naya. And don't rush her age. There will be a time when she'll regret you even announcing her age, but we wish her a very, very happy birthday. And thank you for having me today. I know yesterday was a truly heavy day and it continues to be heavy, but sometimes we do have to look at what's hopeful and what can keep us moving forward. It's always a pleasure to be here with you. And again, thank you for the warm introduction.
Well, thank you for being here. And I will love that she's watching downstairs. She's very vain, eh? For now. I hope she, but she loves to hear her name. Anyways, Madam Jibrilu, thank you so much, Director General of Tourism. It's a pleasure to have you on the show today because I'm looking for, I and everyone else in the country, we are looking for trends of optimism. We are looking for that thing that says there is a turn, where there is some optimism, some hope. And I read just a little bit of the article printed today. We're looking pretty kind of, I don't even know how to say it. I'm afraid to say it, but I think we're kind of looking good in tourism. Talk to me, Joy. What is going on in tourism?
I understand you completely. I too am kind of scared to say it. You know, in the Bahamas, we have a thing, we ain't one jinx it.
Right.
But I've just returned from World Travel Market in London. And even prior to that, we were seeing the trends. We speak to our partners, we speak to the airlines, so we know what's going on. And we also know all the work that we've put in place. But when you see people lining up to meet with you, to ask you, how are you doing what you're doing, the recovery and the rebound that they're seeing for the Bahamas. My team members who traveled with me, they can confirm that I said to several of the people we were meeting with, pardon, say it again, the Bahamas? And the reason is because the Bahamas really, the rebound is going so positively well for us. And I have to share these statistics because people, they think they expect you to say what I'm going to say. And they always say, well, what do you have to support that? So not only are our airlines, and I'm sure we're going to get into that conversation, Nahaja, our airlines doing well, and we're seeing an increase in airlift, and airlines don't go where they don't see business. But beyond that, you've heard us talk about Forward Keys at the Ministry of Tourism, and this is a data analyst company that looks at actual bookings. And every tourism player in the world, globally, UNWTO, WTTC, major airlines, major countries, this is what they use to see their performance. And when they presented us with the performance of the Bahamas, I mean, I wish I could share it with you. I've got the papers right here.
Wow.
But what it speaks about, it talks about total international inbound recovery compared to 2019 is at below 77% of what it was in 2019. So only that means 23% recovery. That's for the world. So you look at Asia Pacific, they're down minus 94%. And these figures are through to October 2021 compared to 2019. So then they said Europe is down 73%. So they told us the Americas is doing the best out of everyone, but that's looking from Canada to South America, down 63%. And then they drilled it a bit deeper. I mean, I have it highlighted here. So out of that, they said South America down 61%, Central America down 23%, Caribbean is down 15%. So the Caribbean is outperforming every other market in terms of rebound of where we are to 2019. Wow. You know, I wish it would stop there. But then they said, but let's look at the Bahamas in relation to the Caribbean. And so they said, looking at December now for the Caribbean, you've got the Caribbean will be 3% ahead of where it was for December 2019. And across the world, 2019 was a good year for travel and tourism. The Bahamas will be ahead 15%.
What?
So look, I've given you the world and I've drilled it down to the Caribbean and then I've drilled it to the Bahamas. So interpret that how you wish. And then January to March 2022. And if you think that the world was saying we would not be rebounding until the fourth quarter of 2023, first quarter of 2024, well, the Caribbean will be down for the first quarter of 2022, minus 24%, way ahead of the world projections. The Bahamas, down 11% versus 29. I mean, so when I talk about a recovery and a rebound, and your question, is tourism rebounding? In the Bahamas, It's not just Joy saying, yes, it's rebounding. It's not just the Ministry of Tourism. It is our airline partners, our tour operators, our travel agents, and all the data is supporting that.
Wow.
So I hope Bahamians can understand this sense of optimism, sense of hope, that all the sacrifices that we made last year, protocols that were put in place that people really, they rebelled against it. They did not like it at all. But we're seeing the benefits of doing what was done from last year and reaping those benefits now. So through it all, yes, there's a smile. I look a little bit fatigued, lots of work going on, but it's because we're seeing that there is definitely a light at the end of the tunnel.
This is excellent news. If you're just tuning in, Madam Joy Jibrilu, Director General of the Ministry of Tourism, this is exceptional news. This isn't okay. See, and because now I'm a little again hesitant to getting super excited because it's there, it's real. What we're hearing is that the Bahamas is outperforming almost everywhere in the world when it comes to tourism numbers, and that we're surprised. I don't know if I'm surprised. Yeah. I'm surprised. I'm surprised by these results, right? And I have so many questions on this, but just on the fact that the numbers are real, that is very, very encouraging. I feel like we should do a hallelujah dance, in church.
We should. I mean, you know what? In the Bahamas, we ain't afraid to say, thank you, Jesus.
Thank you, Jesus.
And thank you for answered prayers. But I know you, Nahaja, and I know you drill down to numbers and you don't want just the anecdotal. And that's why I have these papers that's independent to verify, because I am like you. And what is it about us when we know we've put the work in that we're still skeptical, but it doesn't matter. I'd rather err on the side of caution and not get overexcited and drop the guard. We still have a lot of work to do in many areas. I just want to make sure that there's clarity. I'm talking on international stopover visitor arrivals. We're not even talking about cruising and the rebound of cruising and where the Bahamas is. So that's on bookings for airlines into the destination.
That's head and
there's
head.
no ambiguity as to what those figures represent.
Joy Jibrilu, you just hit that's even better to me. And I'm glad that you made that clarification, because that is where we talk about the money spending, right? Where we measure the amount of dollars that actually stay into the economy. So we know that those who are flying in, they have to stay somewhere, they eat local, all of these things happen over a period of time. That then tells us that we are, obviously, but the numbers tell us we're projecting well, but then more so than just persons traveling or transiting in country, like we would have cruise ship passengers. We're finding that people are intentionally coming and staying in the Bahamas. Why is that? What is happening? Why is the Bahamas so appealing to the world post or midst this endemic now?
Yeah. I think your questions are just spot on, because they're the questions that all of us ask. And I made the point, Nahaja, that we never stopped working. And I recall, from the beginning of lockdown, tourism went into overdrive. And I heard the noise in the marketplace. Well, what's tourism doing? There ain't nothing for them to do. And little did they know that there were the hive of activity that took place. We engaged with all of our partners virtually, like we're doing now. We had training sessions with tour operators, with travel agents. We had monthly meetings with our airline partners. Even the way we marketed during the pandemic was very, very focused and strategic. The beginning of the pandemic, no one was traveling, but we had promotions and advertising, spots on television around the world, just saying from the Bahamas with love, showing these beautiful scenes. But what we were trying to do is make sure that people kept the Bahamas top of mind. We weren't selling anything. We were just showing calm, relaxation, beautiful beaches, and we had that in abundance. And saying, when you were there with us during Hurricane Dorian, we're now sending some of that love back to you. But the amount of people who came to me and said, oh my gosh, I'm seeing these ads for the Bahamas and it's playing on me. As soon as I can travel, I'm coming there. So not selling anything. Then when we opened up softly, communicating what our travel protocols were. People didn't understand how important communication was, whether they were onerous, whether they were difficult. Having these up-to-date travel protocols that communicated to all of our partners. So we were just on it all the time. And even as we were playing catch up with emergency orders and changes, but making sure our partners understood them. And they all spoke about that in a positive light. Thank you for keeping us informed. Thank you for going through this with us. But then the world recognized where we were. The hated and dreaded travel health visa. That actually gave people reassurance that what we had in place for a health and safety standpoint, which is now seen as the number one factor that people look at for travel. What are the health and safety protocols in place? People who are going abroad in the times of COVID want to know that there are policies in place.
Yes.
That was well received. That was well. In fact, people reached out to us. Could you tell us how you went about that? What are you doing? Could you guide us? We want to do something similar. In fact, many countries in the world have done just that. So it's the consistency of being ahead of wherever we were. Constant communication. And so, of course, when the world opened up, the Bahamas was never forgotten. We never went to sleep. And so to the whole of Team Tourism, my global sales teams, for constantly having those meetings. I mean, I used to speak so much and have so many interviews to ensure that people didn't forget us, but we're reaping the benefits of that hard work. And so it's really commendation and congratulations to Team Tourism for seeing what the plan was, what the strategic approach was, not getting distracted by the noise in the marketplace, and saying to people when they were doubting, yes, this is untested territory, but we think we know what we're doing, because we all were just hoping we knew what we were doing. And I think the results now bear out that perhaps they speak for themselves.
If you're just tuning in, Director General of Tourism, the one and only Madam Joy Jibrilu, special and prized guest on the show. I always tell y'all, she's one of my favorite people of all time. And you know what, one of the things before we go to break, I was always impressed with the work that was being done in tourism, I must admit, because home porting was such a smart move that it was a strategic move. And I commended the former government and Team Tourism all the way. Your leadership within tourism, Joy, I think has helped to sustain us and allowed us to be atop this trend right now, because that home porting move, even though now we know many of the companies have decided that they will end their series here, it was good enough for the time when we needed it. And it helped, like you said, to keep us really in the forefront of everyone's minds. And being on that Crystal Cruises journey, I remember a couple we met, we were, I can't even remember what they call it now when you're being ferried over from the ship to the island.
Yeah.
But a couple that we met there, they were from New York. And they were in lockdown and people were dying all around them. And they said when they saw the ad for the Bahamas on TV, they told the husband said, I told my wife, we have to leave. We're going to, as soon as we get a chance, we're going. Yes. And then they saw the Crystal Cruises was available. And that's the story of our tourism, that we stayed relevant, and the ability to home port was exceptional. So there's so many great works. We have a lot of questions for you, Joy, but we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, let's talk about, where are these folks going? Are they staying in hotels? Are we seeing an uptick in vacation rentals? Is it staying strong? Are they going to different islands? Is it New Providence centric, or are we going to family islands? Is this yachters? I got so many questions, Joy. So we'll take a quick break. You're listening to the Hit Back with Nahaja Black, Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. We will be back right after this.
What happened to you? You look like you lost your paycheck.
Man, I just realized I got scammed out of a bunch of money. They said I won this contest and just needed me to send them some money so I could collect. I mean, to expedite something. Or was it to smooth the process?
Man, you're smarter than that. Protect yourself against scams and fraud by following these steps. If you know you didn't enter a competition, you can't win. Never pay to receive a cash prize. If you're being asked, you're being scammed. Check trusted internet sites for verification of information given to you. Do not give your banking details to people you don't know. If it sounds too good to be true, it is. Monitor your bank account regularly for any questionable transactions. Get more information at getmoneysmartbahamas.com.
So I come to work today, meet my coworker in front of the computer crying. AC sky high, but she's sweating. I ask her what happened. Apparently, she ordered some stuff online, but she threatened with this VAT increase. I told her I cannot guarantee she won't feel the pinch of the increase, but I can guarantee low rates on her shipping fee from Airborne Freight and Cargo Services. Then she can ask me if I'm sure they still will give her low rates in spite of the increase. I ask her what but that she don't understand. If she look at the alphabet, she will see A is A, B is B, C is C. That don't change. 1, 2, 3. I give the answer. Bye-bye.
Call Airborne Freight and Cargo Services at 377-0450 today.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
It's the hit back with the hash of black. It's the hit back with the hash of black. It's the hit back with the hash of black.
And we're back. You're listening to the Hit Back with Nahaja Black, Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. I hope that everybody's, again, doing well, taking care of yourself, living your best life. Today, we are joined by the Director General of Tourism. You know, she's the big DG. She is the boss, the one, only. Madam Joy Jibrilu. Joy, thank you so much again for joining us on the show.
You're welcome. Nahaja, you'll make me not be able to walk out of here, but thank you for, I appreciate you and I appreciate the sentiments.
Well, it's all love. It's very, very much sincere. I really do. There's a list I have of women who just are inspirational, Joy, and you've always been one. And that's why I always think that my job, and I say this on air, so that, they always say, give your flowers while people are alive. From afar, when I was just Nahaja, not Nahaja Black, known to everyone, I would watch you at work, Joy. And I say it on air. I would watch you at work and I said, this is a brilliant Bahamian woman. Look at my sister, just lead. And so it is just a pleasure to have your company. And I want to say it on air so that,
Thank you. And I want to, all that I've been privileged to have received, I am in that phase of my life now where I want to pour it out. So, I want everyone to know that that's the phase I'm in, to just come and take it out of me.
I'm back.
Yeah, I lost momentarily.
So you gotta mind this whole internet foolishness, and it'll just stress you right out for sure. All right, so let's get to it. And so my apologies to it. Let's go to this now, Joy. So what is the reasoning? And for those who are just tuning in, right? For those there of all of the, am I still thinking?
You're
so those
still
who are unaware of the process, the process of how did we get here? How do we get to this? Where are guests staying? How come they're coming and staying in country? Tell me a bit. Why are they coming to the Bahamas, or where are they staying? All of that good stuff.
Yeah. So one of the things that we talked about throughout the pandemic was the Bahamas was the perfect place actually for a pandemic. We all knew that self-isolation, social distancing, those were the key words. And this is a natural country where you could do that. So the family islands have boomed. They have done so well. In the Bahamas, you don't go on the beach where plenty people are anyway. So you start seeing 10, 15 people on the beach. It's too crowded. You're going to find another one. And people just couldn't believe that they could get away. They could get somewhere where there's these beautiful beaches and water. And again, people were really, really, to use the Bahamian vernacular, they were jonesing to go in the water. There was something about being locked down that everyone wanted to get on a beach. So that became the number one sort of desired destination. So we had that in buckets. Then we had where you could self-isolate. Nassau was a little bit too crowded, go to Family Island. And we saw then the boom of the Family Islands. And if you look at our family islands and you look at where they are relative to COVID-19, they have fared very well. So people could look at an Eleuthera, a Long Island, an Andros and say, wow, these numbers are unbelievable. This is a safe place, but I can still self-isolate. I could still have a great vacation. Now, strangely, people are comfortable staying in a hotel. Everyone thought that everyone would rush for Airbnbs or vacation rental homes, but they like the protocols that were put in place for at hotels. They like the fact that they could get a room, not a room, but they can stay in their room and know that the standard of cleaning and cleanliness was at an international standard. So our hotels have done very well. Nassau, Paradise Island, and the Family Islands, but so have vacation rental homes. So the great thing about what we're seeing is that everybody has benefited from it. And again, I want to make a point, Nahaja. In times of crises, whether financial crisis or others, even if we look at extreme weather events, we've always seen a drop in the average daily rate of hotel rooms. In this pandemic, because this pent-up demand and everyone wanted to travel, hotels did not need to drop their rates to attract visitors. In fact, the traveling public appreciated that now the cost of doing business in a hotel has gone up because of the extra measures needed for cleanliness. So in the Bahamas, we've seen an increase in the ADR, the average daily rate of a hotel room, and not the reverse. So again, this is something that's really positive, and we want to see this trend continue so that it allows for us to rebound and recover economically. And at the end of the day, that's what this is all about, the economic recovery for our country that's so desperately needed.
Yeah. And if you're just tuning in again, Joy Jibrilu joining us. And Joy, let me know if it starts to buffer again. I'm trying to keep pace. Right?
You're good now. You're good.
Okay. So we've got a few questions. Someone asked a question here. When will Pompey Square be cleared for vendors to return to work? Any update on that? That's a good question there.
Great question, but I want to be clear here. Pompey Square has never had vendors except for very special events like a Christmas artisan event or something. So Pompey Square is the open square for people to go and enjoy. So I'm wondering if they're talking about the straw market.
Maybe the straw market.
The straw market next to, close enough to Pompey Square. And there are lots of meetings and discussions in place with all the relevant ministries. So Ministry of Tourism, Ministry of Health, Ministry of Public Works that has oversight for the straw market, and even the Straw Vendors Association, looking at protocols, looking at putting plans in place. So I think it's a question of soon, certainly before Christmas, we'll see the reopening of the straw market, and those protocols, obviously everyone won't be able to return to work at the same time. So having a system in place so that you can ensure social distancing and proper distancing, ventilation, and knowing that cleanliness is going to be a key feature of the return, but sooner rather than later, Nahaja.
That, and another great question and something to consider. Of course, we know that tourism is cultural as well, right? That entertainment is a part of tourism. And this great boom and rebound is fantastic. And I know folks want to know, when will that boom and rebound trickle into the community, right? When will we have entertainers? Will we get Junkanoo back? What do you say to that? How is tourism working now? And are we to the place where we can get some of these necessary entities back into play?
What is interesting about the rebound of tourism as we live in the time of this pandemic? People want to travel. They always did, but we see it even more keenly. People want to travel for cultural experiences, for authentic experiences, prepared to pay for it. It was always important. I mean, let's not move away. That's why people are traveling, but even more so now, they want to get away from the norm. I mean, if I've been locked down in the same place for 18, 19 months, I do want to experience something differently. So anything cultural that we offer is high on the list of what's a priority. And so the Ministry of Tourism, of course, we recognize that. We want to see more and more and more the infusion of cultural aspects, authentic cultural arts and crafts. All of this, our food, which abounds anyway, and people can find that and experience it. And so I think as people become more, I want to say, comfortable with reopening and ensuring that the protocols that are in place as we reopen more and more and numbers increase more and more, but we keep our number of COVID cases within a manageable level for the Ministry of Health, you will see the addition of more cultural attractions that involve people and the gathering of people. We are still under the mandate of the Ministry of Health, and obviously large gatherings is something that they are deeply concerned about because the virus is still amongst us. As it relates to Junkanoo, I wish I could answer that. I actually had to answer that question earlier today. Someone asked me that, and this is Joy speaking from her point of view. Junkanoo isn't something that I decide on the 15th of November we're going to have on Boxing Day in December. This is something where these Junkanoo groups spend a year preparing for, creating their costumes, their themes, their practice. So I think it's going to be very difficult in any event to have a meaningful Junkanoo as we as Bahamians know Junkanoo. But I don't know what variation of that we might see. That discussion has not taken place, certainly with me in the room. But we know it's important because we're being asked that question, not just by you, Nahaja, but by many other people as well, including our guests who like to visit to experience it.
Yeah, and if you're just tuning in, Joy Jibrilu, Director of Tourism, joining us on the show. So then, of course, those are cultural aspects of this tourism growth that we're hoping, or rebound we're hoping it to be a part of. I want to ask this question here, and then I would like for you to repeat some of those numbers for folks who are just tuning in, as you shared a little earlier. But in you said, hey, folks actually want to stay in hotels. We actually thought they were going to consider a move towards the vacation rental side of it, but they are looking at these hotels as the place they want to stay. But what for those, because I'm a big proponent of vacation rentals, I love it. I think that this is an empowerment moment for those who have some sort of asset that can be leveraged in that way. What can you tell those who are looking to create that asset for themselves? What is the health of that market, that industry of vacation rentals in the country?
Without a doubt, that is still a very powerful component of our tourism product. There will always be those who will now go for a vacation rental home. But as we see the increase of visitors coming to the Bahamas, and we're going to have, I hope, an opportunity to talk about the increase in airlift,
oh yes, of course,
including from Europe. All these people who are coming have to stay somewhere and are staying somewhere. Our hotel inventory at this stage is not increasing. So people are finding places to stay, so we're adding more airlift, more opportunities for people to travel. They are coming. And if we think that our hotel stock remains the same, the math then is very, very easy to do. And as we look to the future and we see the demand for the Bahamas, people are saying, oh my goodness, I can get the hotel that I wanted, but it didn't stop me going because I found the perfect vacation rental home. But still a very strong market, still a strong appetite for it. We continue to do well. The Bahamas, once we got into vacation rental homes in a big way on whether Airbnb or the other platforms, we come to take over. And so we've done well and we continue to do well. And so I don't want anyone for a moment to think that opportunities have been lost in that way. We need all players to come to the table now.
Excellent. Let me ask you another question, Joy. And I see my producer sending me a message. Let me make sure I don't. Okay, she's saying take a break. Okay, Joy. Joy, I got to follow the boss's instruction. Yeah. We're going to take a quick break. Joy Jibrilu joining us, Director of Tourism. You're listening to the Hit Back with Nahaja Black, Guardian Radio. We'll be back right after this.
Sugar, let's get sugary. Softer, smoother, and amazing skin. Oh, sugar, sugar, we're the sugar ladies. Giving you skin soft as a baby's. Goodbye, hair, we'll take good care of you.
Come visit us at Baha Retreat Spa on East Bay Street. Contact us at 323-6711. Or visit us online at www.baharetreat.com.
We are working to protect our country, our people, and our livelihoods so that we can move forward. The vaccine is safe. The vaccine is easy. The vaccine is essential for our recovery. If we want to rebuild our economy, if we want to get back to our jobs, if we want to get back to our lives, our families, we must do this together.
At Fidelity, the holidays are all about family, spending time with loved ones, and being thankful for the little things in life. Worrying about bills should be the last thing on your mind, especially during the holidays. Let Fidelity help you get your bills under control. Fidelity can also get you started with a real savings plan that actually pays you interest. The only thing you need to think about is what you will do with the savings in your pocket this Christmas. Now that's what I'm talking about. Fidelity Bank is here for you this holiday season because you are family, and family is important to us.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
It's the Hit Back with Nahaja Black. It's the Hit Back with Nahaja Black. It's the Hit Back with Nahaja Black. It's the Hit Back with Nahaja Black.
And we're back. We're talking tourism with Director General Joy Jibrilu. And Joy, thank you so much again for the time and for being here with us. Let's talk about now. We were discussing one of the great things. This show is a show of optimism with tourism. So I want that to be the first thing. It is a show of optimism. Let me ask you, airlift has increased. We got Frontier Airlines now. We've got I think British Airways is going to Exuma. Is it British Airways is going to Exuma?
Air Canada. Air Canada.
Air Canada. So then what's going on? How come we got so cute? The commercials really look that great? What's going on? What happened?
Nahaja, you're going to ask the person in tourism that. We look beyond cute. We look that good. We just have a beautiful product. And sometimes I have a very easy job. You know, when you travel and you go somewhere bleak and cold and you show images of the Bahamas, it sells itself. But airlines don't go where there's no business. So they're saying, that they like us and they're just coming. When they see a demand for that destination and bookings are outpacing opportunities for them to get people there, that's when they say we need to look at adding more flights. I want to talk about London, UK, England, and London primarily. British Airways has been consistently there with us. But everyone complained. You get 2 or 3 flights a week with British Airways, and that takes care of all of Europe. And so we were limited by the growth from not just the United Kingdom, but also all of Europe, because you're limited by how many people could come that way. Of course, they could come through the US, but oftentimes they got to the US and stayed there. Then after or during the pandemic, constant negotiations with BA saying, look, you've returned to travel in Barbados and in Jamaica. We're not feeling the love. What's going on? And we kept going after them. And they were concerned. They said, we're not sure that there's the demand. And saying, I'm putting myself on the line. Why don't you try it? Because we're seeing the demand from North America. Started with 2 flights. Within a matter of weeks, they upped it to 3. A few weeks later, they upped it to 4. First time in ever, 6 flights per week direct from the UK to Nassau. Virgin Atlantic, we have been trying to dance with them. I can't tell you, for the last 3 years, I've been meeting with them every year, trying to sell the Bahamas as an opportunity, and they just didn't get it. So conversations continued in the pandemic. In the pandemic, people had time to listen. So we negotiated. Then they said, yes, on board, 2 flights per week. Well, they are so pleased with how those 2 flights are selling. Notwithstanding, British Airways has 6 flights. So the 8 flights coming out of London now, it doesn't only speak about growth opportunities from the United Kingdom. And by the way, this is the first time, I think, in our history, we would have this amount of airlift out of the UK to the Bahamas. But it opens up all of Europe, because these flights leave from London Heathrow. And that means everyone connecting any point in Europe can leave at 6 or 7 a.m. in the morning, arrive in London, connect to Nassau. They see it as a direct flight. It opens up the Middle East. It opens up India, places where people travel. And so we're on a marketing blitz in Europe, all of Europe, and we're going now to the Middle East. We're going to India, because opportunities are presented once you have the airlift. And so this is replicated, obviously, or it's began really in the US with the growth and the return of travel from the US. Frontier started with us May. And they said, let's just try with 3 flights a week. Let's see how that works out. Well, it surpassed everyone's expectations, including their projections. And now all of a sudden we see them adding new routes. Philadelphia direct, Orlando direct. So really bodes well for us. Canada's opened up. WestJet is back. Air Canada, Montreal. And so that's why I think we're going to see this great Christmas that's anticipated, because people can now get back to the Bahamas.
This is huge. Joy Jibrilu, Director General. So then, Joy, if this is the case, we should be seeing some more hirings, right? We should be seeing a boom in for us since 2019. Quite a bit of this stimulus in country, quite a bit more people being called back to work. Is that what you are getting? Is that what you are seeing? Is that what the hotels are saying based on these bookings that are extended outward?
That's what all this hard work is about. This hard work isn't about self-glory or to say this is what we did. It's about getting our economy back to some sort of normalcy, that we could pay our bills. It's about getting people back to work. And the last 18 months have been really difficult for people in travel and tourism. And we got a real bashing with people saying, why are we in tourism? Well, we're in tourism because it's the most resilient industry and sector globally. It rebounds quicker than any other, and we're seeing that now. So when others are lagging behind or what have you, tourism comes back. And the whole idea, as we reopen up, as hotels continue now, or as they begin to reach the levels that they were at in 2019, of course, they're going to have to take on more people. But Nahaja, because time's against us, one of the things that I think you and I want to talk about, I don't want people to think that the Ministry of Tourism is complacent. Our job, yes, is to bring people, to promote and market so that people come to the destination and bring much needed foreign exchange. But we also have a responsibility, and that's a collective responsibility. And I'm feeling this close to my heart. We are working so hard to bring people to our country. We got to make sure we're offering them the best. It's incumbent upon all of us. We have to accept responsibility. Are we showing them our best room? You know, in the old days, you used to keep your front room for best.
Yes.
We're supposed to be on display all the time, showing our front room to our visitors. And I think it's a personal pride and a national pride. Bahamians have had a difficult time, but this is now an opportunity for Bahamians to look at their entrepreneurial side. We spoke about it continuously during home porting, and we see the opportunities now. And if you can do it, If Joy can't do it alone, Joy and Nahaja have to speak and say, what can we do together? And if Joy and Nahaja can't do it alone, we got to say, Joy, Nahaja, and the producer, what can we do? What I'm saying is the opportunities are now there for us, not just to be on the outside looking in at this industry and what it is providing, but for us to be owners and to be real beneficiaries and lasting beneficiaries of this industry. And that's what's on my heart. That's what my team now know. I said, look, we got the marketing down pat. We got all these negotiations. We got to work now with all the agencies who have responsibility, clean up our act. All our islands need some love, and all of us together have to do that. So I'm going to be calling upon you to partner with us as we get this campaign going for people to understand how important this is and how we can benefit even more from this golden opportunity that the whole world is looking to get into.
This is exciting to me. Director Joy Jibrilu joining us, the hit back with Nahaja Black. This is what is so exciting to me with this, Joy, is that there are, monumental opportunities. When we see these sort of numbers, it's a time to get really excited and say, hey, we want to do X, Y, and Z. Top 3 things in your mind, Joy, where there are vacancies, where there are opportunities for Bahamian entrepreneurs to step in. And you say right off the top of my head, tourism, the product of tourism, Bahamas, we need X, Y, and Z. What areas or industries do you see people having an opportunity?
Area of concern, we need to clean up. We ain't clean. We got to clean up, and every one of us have a responsibility, and we have to begin with children reminding mommy and daddy and auntie and cousin, you can't throw that bottle out the car. You can't, basic things that have to be constantly reminded. That old refrain that tourism is everyone's business, it truly is. How we speak to ourselves, people are listening to us and to our visitors. So that's, that isn't how, but everyone can get involved with that. But people look to me and say, what is needed? We need world class, and world class doesn't mean that it has to be Disney or Universal or what have you. It means that the world will look at it with respect and appreciation. Activities, offerings that are truly Bahamian, truly authentic. I talk about this, used to talk about it all the time. The food walking tour. Yes. Startup costs were minimal. And no car needed or anything. People used to walk, but an arrangement was made from restaurant to restaurant. I could come to your restaurant and we start with kung fritters and kung salad and go to the next one and what have you. But that was the #1 sold tour because it was so well done. So I need everyone, put on your thinking caps. You ask me and I could be looking at you and say, help me too, help me. Let's try and brainstorm here. Sometimes you ask a child and a child has amazing ideas, but what can we do? Now, one of the things I know that this government has spoken about, and that our Minister of Tourism is also the Minister of Investment. So this is so important to him, but he's looking at those opportunities for funding, making funding available, because oftentimes startup is a difficult thing for people to get involved and engage. But everybody who comes to the destination, whether via cruise, whether land-based, they're looking for things to do and things that we provide, not things that others visiting us provide. And so, I see this incredible opportunity, and how do we tap into it and benefit from it? And so that's a great takeaway for us all collectively to work upon.
And someone asks, what about the buildings downtown? Because, we talk about it being, we want to clean that front door. We want to be clean, what is it, green, clean, and pristine and all of that stuff. Yeah. But the buildings downtown are dilapidated. Yeah,
Still
how do we
applies, clean and pristine. And this is when everybody has to come to the table. There has to be a national pride. We've reached out in the past, and I feel that there is an appetite now. Everyone's appreciating and realizing it. I think the Port of Nassau is going to be a catalyst between that and what happened at the Point. You've got, obviously, central bank is they're about to build as well. So these hopefully will prove a catalyst. People are motivated by the dollar sign. Costs of prices for those properties probably will naturally rise with all the upgrade taking place. So I'm hoping that all of this will be a motivation. And at this stage, whatever it takes to motivate someone to clean up. But we're talking internally with our team because this is a priority item for the Ministry of Tourism. As I said, we feel that we've got the marketing right, we've got other things right. And so now it's for us, we got to clean up our act. And I said, before anyone comes saying, I said, it begins with me. All of us are responsible for that.
Joy Jibrilu, Director General of the Ministry of Tourism. Joy, thank you so much. I appreciate the time, my friend. Always a pleasure. You're listening to The Hit Back with Nahaja, Black Guardian Radio. We got to take a break. When we come back, let's talk a bit about reimagining housing. Special thanks to Joy. Everyone, we'll be back right after this.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
Good afternoon. I'm Tashina Robinson with your Guardian Network News headlines. Here's what's topping the news at this hour. Tourism numbers continue to climb, according to Deputy Prime Minister Chester Cooper, who says September 2021 saw a 1,000% increase compared to 2020 when the country was in the midst of a lockdown. Meantime, Tourism's Director General Joy Jibrilu said the Bahamas stopover business is ahead of 2019 by 15% for the remainder of the year. Airports Council International has awarded the Lynden Pinling International Airport its COVID-19 health accreditation for the second year in a row. The country's major gateway joins more than 400 facilities from around the world to meet the industry's criteria for safe operations in a COVID-19 environment. Earning the re-accreditation confirms Nassau Airport Development Company and LPIA's stakeholders' commitment to efficiently and effectively process passengers amidst a global pandemic. While COVID-19 cases and hospitalizations are on the decline, Minister of Health and Wellness Michael Darville says the government is moving forward cautiously and preparing for the possibility of a fourth wave. And a decision still pending on whether the carnival will be allowed to return to the Bahamas this year. Although the seasonal attraction has made an application to set up shop and open for business, the ministry is still weighing the pros and cons of the matter. And with that, we wrap up your headline news. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Tashina Robinson. Stay tuned. AP News is up next.
Tired of banks forcing you to use technology to bank the way they want you to? Your convenience is important. So no matter what your banking needs, Commonwealth Bank's friendly staff are always available in branch for that personal one-on-one service. But when you choose technology, our online and mobile banking app offers you state-of-the-art functionality. The choice is yours. Commonwealth Bank. Bank the way you want.
Coronavirus update. I'm Ed Donahue with an AP News Minute. Stocks finished lower. The Dow down 111 points. Pfizer is asking advisors at the Food and Drug Administration to allow boosters of its coronavirus vaccine for anyone 18 or older. There's more evidence inflation is hanging around.
Inflation at the wholesale level jumped 8.6% last month from a year earlier, equaling September's record annual gain. The Labor Department says its Producer Price Index, which measures inflation before it hits consumers, rose 0.6% last month from September, due in part to a nearly 7% increase in gas prices. The economy's strong recovery from the coronavirus has created shortages of labor and goods, resulting in higher prices. That supply squeeze is expected to last at least well into 2022. Mike Hemp in Washington.
I'm Ed Donahue.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
You have to be strong in today's world. Keep your focus and love what you believe in, how to achieve all your dreams. Keep moving forward, never accept less than who you are. Live your best life. Be strong and free. It's the It Back with Natasha Black. It's the It Back with Natasha Black.
And we're back. You're listening to the Hit Back with Natasha Black, Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. I hope everybody's doing well, taking care of yourself, living your best life today. Want to say again, special happy birthday to my little lady, Zanaya. But also today, the 9th of November, actually 7 years ago, she turned 8 this day, but 7 years ago was the day we also lost Pastor Miles, his lovely wife, Ruth, Pastor Richard Pinder, my friends, Riddell and LeVard Parks, their little boy, Jojo, the pilots, my friend from high school, Furkan, the pilot, and I can't remember his name right now all of a sudden, and I know his family so well. And of course, their guests. So this day also is a reminder, as a day of mourning also for families who remember the loss of Pastor Miles, Pastor Ruth, and the others, but especially my good friend Riddell, my good friends Riddell and LeVard Parks, who were on that flight with their beautiful baby boy Jojo. So sending love and thoughts and prayers with them to the family on this day that we remember, which is also my daughter's wonderful birthday. So I don't want to be a Debbie Down on her day. She's very happy to be 8 finally. Shout out to Zanaya, all the way from, at this time of COVID. COVID ain't great, but the best thing about COVID is I can't send cake and ice cream to the school. I actually saved money this birthday because COVID protocols say you can't share nothing. So I didn't even have to lie about it. I'm like, I can't send the cupcake, sweetie. It isn't my fault. Blame COVID. I saved money today. Won't he do it? I want to bring my guest on, my good friend, someone who challenges me to think. And man, when I say challenge, literally, I'm sitting there like, oh, my brain can't compute this. You got to slow down. And I love him for it because he makes me think outside the box. He really makes me think outside the box. And I appreciate him so much. So my birthday is today. Happy birthday, Jennifer. Jennifer Thurston. Happy birthday, honey. Happy birthday. Rain, her name ain't Zanaja. It's Zanaya. Rain trying to name the baby after me. For the record, there's a trick to this. My oldest is named Azaria. The second one is named Zanaya. It was supposed to be A to Z, and we finished. I don't know where that boy come from in the middle. I blame COVID, but we digress. I want to bring my good friend on who challenges me to think. One and only. Y'all know him as critical thinker. I just call him Headache. The smarter version of smart. C. Allen Johnson. C. Allen, how you doing, buddy?
I'm blessed and highly favored. Always doing good. Always looking for opportunity. Every day above ground is a good day for me.
I know you're right. My good friend, C. Allen. C. Allen, we've been talking about this show for so long, right? We've been talking about this show for so long because when you and I chat, you always push me. I won't lie. Anyone knows our conversations. You would say, Nahaja, you got to think about this. You got to think about this, You have to think about this. If we were, you challenge me to think outside of the norm. I have guests on. You say, Nahaja, meditate on this thing. And I said, okay, you know what? I can't meditate on this by myself. I need for others to hear this to see if I'm just the only one who doesn't understand. And one of the topics was I had the Minister of Transport on, and we were talking about housing, of course, the Prospect Ridge housing development. And there's this whole thing of housing. How do we make housing, not as expensive? How do we get Bahamians into home ownership, right? So we can have empowerment. And Nancy Allen, you send me this whole system of math and stuff, and I was like, I ain't ready. So today, I took my ginkgo biloba. I'm ready for you, buddy. I am ready. So let's reimagine housing. Tell us some of these concepts and ideas that you got on housing.
Well, the biggest problem that we have for housing is that we have a deficiency in housing. If you go back to 2008, I was participate as part of a study in the Bahamas, and actually in 2008, it says that we were lacking about 80,000 housing units in the Bahamas based on the growth trajectory that we should be taking. As you know, we have not built 80,000, and the population of those who have entered into the market, leaving high school, etc., has expanded. We have government that actually promotes something called low-income housing. That within itself is a misnomer because it requires you to have low income. And so what we need in the Bahamas is something called affordable housing. Now, one of the things is that I've always talked about digitization and the fact that the world has been changing. And the biggest problem is the banks in the Bahamas only lend money for vehicles. Now, a lot of people will jump at it and says, yes, Yalan, you're correct. But the problem is that we've never taught financial literacy in the Bahamas for them to understand what a vehicle is. Let me break it down in three parts. An automobile is a vehicle for transportation. Notice the word vehicle. A house is a vehicle for home ownership. And a business is a vehicle for wealth generation. Notice all three of them are vehicles. So we often limit ourselves in the thinking that, oh, vehicle is only an automobile. Now, here's why banks only lend money for vehicles. First of all, if you do not pay for that automobile, they can take you out and put somebody else in who will finish the payments. If you don't pay them for that house, they can take you out and put somebody else in it to finish the payments. So when you go for a business, if there's not a means for them to take you out and put somebody else in so they could continue the business to get their principal back, they are not going to finance you. Now, one of the biggest problem we have is that we in spite of us bragging about this wealthy economy that we have, it doesn't impact probably about 60 to 70% of the Bahamian economy. Our middle class has shrank drastically. If you look at the debt ratio structure in the Bahamas, very few people can qualify for housing as it is priced, at least on New Providence.
Correct.
And so over the last 5 years, I've taken the opportunity in watching what is called DeFi. Decentralized finance has been evolving. Banking has evolved to the point that banks are no longer needed, except in the Bahamas. We cry for banks on the Old Islands because we refuse to go digital. And so is financial services, and so is financing. And so the best way for us to begin to reimagine housing is to stop looking at the old methodology of doing things and begin to look at the DeFi environment. And
hold on, two things before you go there. I need you to speak up a little louder because you're doing your thunderstorm voice.
Okay, let's go. Can you hear me better?
Yeah, I can hear you better now. And and I like that you're saying DeFi, decentralized financing, and that's for a lot of people when we talk about the crypto space, right? That's the digital currency space. That is a whole other. That's a topic that. Funny thing that you mentioned it. We're going to be discussing that on tomorrow's show in depth, cryptocurrency, crypto investments, etc. But you're saying to reimagine housing, we got to reimagine banking?
Yes, because essentially that's how we get into housing. Unless we have cash to pay for the house, we have to begin to look at new methods of getting finances to Bahamians to move into that space. If the banks don't want to provide what is called conventional financing to Bahamians, then we must also reimagine the banking aspect of getting Bahamians into another space for which they can get financing. The beauty about I love the initial half of your show where you were talking about tourism, because that is one of the multiple aspects of DeFi that we see the opportunity in providing housing. Let's use an example. On Grand Bahama alone, it is from a survey that was done right before Dorian. It said that we needed 10,000 rooms on Grand Bahama to reach what is called net zero. Net zero is where everybody gets their room filled, everybody have their restaurant, everybody have their tours or whatever, but nobody makes any money. It's a break-even type environment. So everything above the 10,000 rooms gets us to a profitability. It is estimated we need about 18,000 to 20,000 rooms on Grand Bahama. And at that particular time, it was between $10,000 and $15,000 for a real stimulus of the economy, what we call economic growth in the economy. So when we start talking about that type of rooms, we always revert to having some foreign investor who comes in, who's going to build some hotel with 1,000, 500, whatever amount of rooms. And so what we have to do is we have to reimagine the way we do things in regards to that. And so one of the things that we reimagined was to combine the desire for housing with fulfilling the need of those rooms that is needed. And so there's an aspect of it where you can actually do bed and breakfast or VRBOs. Now, and I want just to define the two of them. Bed and breakfast is more like rooms for rent, and we use the space all the time. We use the word bed and breakfast even when we have apartments for rent, and it's usually in somebody's house or some variables of that sort. VRBO, vacation rentals by owner, is another aspect of the market that is more in a need now, more so in this COVID environment. And so if you begin to look at the 20,000 rooms that we need on Grand Bahama, we simply have to decide that we will no longer look at mortgages the same. And what do you mean by that? We must now treat mortgages as business loans. And so, you get in your 40s and 50s, they tell you can't qualify, you have no income. But if you take the opportunity to look at a mortgage as a business loan, as opposed to a residential mortgage, you would most likely qualify because you can authenticate the revenue stream or the potential revenue stream that is needed. And so what I did is that I got a group of individuals of finances, blockchain professionals, smart contract professionals, contractors, health and wellness cleaners, marketing individuals, advertising, everyone together for us to work towards developing a vehicle by which we could begin to advise Bahamians how to get into this market and basically have what is called VRBOs as well as basically having the home at the same time. Now, what happens is I want you to know that we went a little further than just entering into the tourism market. Let's define tourism and hospitality.
And when you say we went, you mean in terms of your study? That when you say we went,
my study, because it isn't. When I say we, it isn't me as an individual, because I depend also on the intellectual capitals of individuals in the market, who's in the construction market, who is in the construction management market, who is in the tourism market, to understand the environment, who understand the health environment, because all of these things plays a variable in making sure that your business plan is a viable one, as opposed to simply saying, I'm going to build a house and build some apartments and people are going to show up and rent it. You have to be able to authenticate that you can generate the revenue that is needed in building the home. I'm going to come back to tell you.
Yeah, because that's if you're just tuning in, see Alan Johnson talking. We're chatting and talking about reimagining housing in the Bahamas. See Alan there in Grand Bahama with this, and just so that folks who are just tuning in, when and when you're using words like authenticate and when I hear that, all I'm hearing about is crypto convos, and it took me a solid like 18 months to learn what all of that means. Are we? Because I want to make sure we tie in, because you're going and I'm loving where you're going, but I make sure I want to tie in because I might have missed it, and that's why I'm interrupting. Is I think I might have missed how the decentralizing of finance and tourism and housing, those three. Did I miss it, or is it like a roundabout way?
I'm coming right to it. But I first wanted to define some things. Let's go for tourism. Hospitality is where the industry that we need to get into. And because hospitality is what people experience, tourism is what people do. And at one time, we used to provide sun, sand, sea, and service. And the Bahamas, based on that same survey about 3 years ago, we no longer provide service. We provide sun, sand, and sea. And so when we begin to reimagine housing, we also have to reimagine the Bahamas and reimagine the product. So we have to have hospitality reimagined as well as tourism reimagined. Now, we're going to come back and I'm going to go through the various incarnations of tourism. But now let's put the three together. What you have is you have a person in need of a home. You have a market in need of rooms.
Yeah.
And you need financing for both of those. So the best thing to do is to go to we would use the blockchain or crypto or the decentralized financing. Now, let's use an example for a client that we're working with right now. They are desirous of a 3-bedroom, 2-bath home, and they have a 1/4-acre lot. So here's where we're working towards that. What we're doing is we're looking at the home that we want to build for them, and at the same time we are looking at building a 2-bedroom, 2-bath, and a 1-bedroom, 1-bath on their property. Now, the beauty about that is because you are now building a rental income that's very geared towards the tourism market, the footprint, the floor space of those particular units are not one where you would say you are renting in the Haja and her family for them to live in. People come to the Bahamas not for the rooms, but for the experience. The rooms are just where they will actually stay. But it's not compacted either. We still have to have a standard because we also created a standard bureau to work with us because we want to be able to provide turnkey 3-star environment and housing. But essentially what we have done now is we have created a smart contract on the blockchain for the individuals who's doing this house. And we are currently looking to engage some advanced bookings for these individuals to raise the $520,000 that is going to be needed to build this house. And I'm going to tell you why.
On the blockchain. On the blockchain.
On the blockchain, yes.
Hold that thought. Let's take a break. Hold that thought. We're going to take a break. We have to take a break right now. And that now it's getting interesting, right? So your crowds, you telling me, Alan, we crowdfunding too?
Yeah,
Hold on.
It's a form of crowdsourcing, yes.
And I got a great comment here too. We're going to take a quick break. You're listening to The Hit Back with Nahaja Black, C. Alan Johnson in Grand Bahama, saying, hey, listen, there's a way to reimagine housing in the Bahamas, dealing with the issue of financing, of availability in tourism, all of this good stuff. We'll be back right after this.
Working to protect our country, our people, and our livelihoods so that we can move forward. The vaccine is safe. The vaccine is easy. The vaccine is essential for our recovery. If we want to rebuild our economy, if we want to get back to our jobs, if we want to get back to our lives, our families, we must do this together.
What does Christmas mean to you? What about making a loved one's face smile bright or driving your own car? CIBC First Caribbean gives you up to 100% financing on auto loans. Apply online and let our auto financing take you places this Christmas. Visit CIBCFCIB.com for more information. Terms and conditions apply.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
It's the Hit Back with Nahaja Black. It's the Hit Back with Nahaja Black. It's the Hit Back with Nahaja Black. It's the Hit Back with Nahaja Black.
And we're back. You're listening to The Hit Back with Nahaja Black, Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. My good friend C. Alan Johnson, all the way out of the wonderful island of Grand Bahama. We're talking about reimagining housing. How this housing thing is possible in the Bahamas. We're trying to get everybody in a home. And see, Alan, we were just talking about this, what you're trying to do with the client right now by putting or trying to crowdsource. It sounds so on the blockchain, the money's necessary with advanced bookings for this house. So circumventing the bank in a way, traditional banking in a way. Is that what we're getting at?
Yes, absolutely. Because essentially, what our initial goal is to find 104 people who is willing to invest in this digital asset. Because essentially, what we do is we convert the property into tokens, and then we create smart contract, and we have an advanced booking system to facilitate the individuals being compensated, or at the time they can redeem their advanced booking for access to the properties. What we do is we have variations of the plan, but if you just take from the simplest aspect where you have this, let's put two one bedrooms that meets two one bedroom, one bath that meet high standard. The bedrooms are going to be built to basically accommodate two individuals. In the living room, there will be a hideaway full bed, not no roll away anything, full bed and tied into the wall, just technologically advanced.
What do they call those? What do they call those beds? I know
Murphy beds. They call them Murphy beds.
Yeah,
but
Murphy beds.
This is but this is fully functional. You will not see it. You won't even know it's there. The guest will literally have to watch an instructional video to find the bed. But what it does, it allows up to 4 guests now to say stay in the one bedroom, which then makes the offer that we make somewhat more feasible for individuals to consider. Because now, if let's use an example where we say, if you was to buy these tokens that we have for sale, and let's say, I don't want to break it down, make very simple, say you buy 5 tokens and each token is worth $1,000 for 1 week stay in the Bahamas. Essentially, you will hold those digital tokens for when this unit is completed. It's on a smart contract, it's secured. We have attorneys, everything has to put the money in escrow, meeting the same requirements. So now that we raise between $520,000 to $624,000, we can actually go and totally build out this unit for the individual and build them their 3-bedroom, 2-bath, as well as build the 2 one-bedrooms in the yard that will be able to accommodate those individuals who will be coming to redeem their tokens. And you could, let's say, we give them 10 years to redeem their 5 weeks each. And so essentially, you have booked 5 years of the 10 years that you have available, taking into variables that they will not all come at the same time.
Well, and let me just ask you this. Someone asked a question, and I think it's actually a pretty good question, and a question I want to ask you too. What is different with this reimagining of housing than if, say, for example, I have the same, quarter acre lot, right? Or let's say a half an acre lot. I don't have the traditional funding to build this out, but I can pre-sell this project, right? I can go ahead and pre-sell like realtors pre-sell.
Yes.
What is the difference with doing that versus doing what many would consider a more complicated process? Because many people are not educated in tokenomics. We don't know what's going on now. This decentralized finance space, many of us don't even like this e-wallet. Many of us don't know anything about crypto. So that's a steep learning curve, mind you, just for the record. See, Alan, we need to learn this stuff. The world is already there, and we need to be right where that is.
Nahaj, but this is why my company is going to be sitting in the middle. We're going to sit in the middle between the person who's desirous of doing this, and we would educate them, because they have to be involved in the process, because they will be managing the property. But I want you to understand that this is not just build out. This is actually building smart homes, smart units built in, because we are also in the home that we are designing is building a house completely off the grid. But I want you to understand where this house also generates money. Our system is basically what is called transformational wealth system, where we want to transform people's life, but at the same time empower them to build generational wealth. In this new dispensation we are. If we need 20,000 rooms, then why can't we have 10,000 Bahamians that own homes and at the same time provide bed and breakfast for that environment on Grand Bahama? And
how
so
quickly, how easily is this something that can be done today? So if again, I got a half an acre, or forget that, I've got I bought this 7,000 square foot property, and I still got a loan on this property. I want to put the sort of you know income generating asset there. I can't go to the bank because I don't qualify. The process with the bank is lengthy. How does it work? How do we make sure that people's monies are safe? Because of course, the bank goes through risk assessments. What if I am not a good steward of money? Like how does that all of this work in that vein?
no, we work with establishing an escrow account, because when the asset become tokenized, we have a legal firm that will act as intermediary between that. So the money goes in escrow until the full funding for the build out is involved. And then the title of the house is also kept in escrow until the full fulfillment of those tokens are all redeemed. But so basically, so the title is joint and tenant, or even almost the same as a mortgage. The difference is that you don't have a mortgage. So as the individuals come and redeem those tokens, they can redeem the tokens themselves, or they can actually sell the tokens or transfer it. And we are considering becoming part of the exchange program. So in case you want to go to someplace else, you spend a week in the Bahamas or 2 weeks in the Bahamas, you have 2 more weeks or 3 more weeks left, you could exchange it with somebody else who can simply come and redeem that asset to spend that week or 2 weeks within that property. And so, but the beauty about it is, the tokens themselves also have a redemptive value. So the mere fact that, let's say you have the property and you have 6 months a year for yourself, a smart person would take the 6 months, and whatever income they have from there is to begin to redeem the tokens from the back end, so they'll have ownership of the house sooner rather than later. And so when you start looking at, say, the house, the information I just gave you, you're looking at only of 104 people basically committing to 4 weeks over a 8-year period or 10-year period, whatever configuration you want, that you will hold this property in escrow for their investment. Or if they want to, they can upsell, up rent, or do whatever it is, because the property is, remember, the value of what they're getting is a reduced value based on the advanced purchases. That same room that they may have paid $1,000 for, when you look at the quality of what they're getting, would be $1,200, $1,000, $1,300, even $1,500.
You're losing folks. Hold on. You're losing me, so I know you're losing folks.
Yes,
you're losing me.
Let's say you paid $1,000. You paid $1,000 for the 7 days in this room. When you look at the quality,
hold on. So let me just make sure I slow it down a bit. So right now you have the potential homeowner. So you have the person who owns the property, right? You have the property owner who is the investor, who's seeking investors, who's seeking this crowdsourcing or crowdfunding of this home, right?
Yes.
Okay. So let's say Susan, me, I am the property owner, Nahaja owns the property, and we are now going to put this thing out to market on the blockchain. So we're going to create a smart contract for folks to use their decentralized funds, their crypto coins, either Bitcoin, Ethereum, and let's go with Bitcoin.
No, it'll be built on one of those, but we will create let's say we create in Nahaja a black coin. Okay.
I like that already.
Yeah, this just for the people to buy. And the beauty about it is that the black coin is actually, you could consider it a non-fungible coin or whatever. It's backed by an actual real tangible asset. This isn't the crypto coin. It's basically a smart contract where you can use the coin for redemption. It isn't one of those where the crypto fluctuates based on mining, etc. It is just there on the blockchain for you to be able to observe, to see the progress, and that your investment is secured, is an escrow for the entire build out. And so the property itself remains as a valued asset. So let's say we may have built the property for $500,000. The property has a value maybe of $750,000.
Right.
So we have more than enough asset into that. The beauty about these houses is that we're not only just building houses, we're building houses that are net zero or passive houses. Net zero is where you basically have no electricity, anything. A passive house, if you refurbish it, reduces it to as low as it can go. But here's what's happening. We are actually looking at building power houses, a grid, power generation houses. Second part of that aspect is we are also building within these houses. There's 3 or 4 different concepts that we have yet to utilize in the Bahamas. is something called a separate and apart from the type of crypto we're talking about here. We have what is called crypto mining, whether it be Bitcoin or Ethereum or whatever it is, Dogecoin, whatever. So the fact is that you are now creating a carbon neutral power generation grid system, complete with storage facility for up to 3 days. I already spoke to the various different producers. So now you can actually just simply put a server for $1,000, whatever amount you want to look at, and you can actually begin to generate between $25, $50, or $100 a day from mining one of the less brutal cases such as Bitcoin. You could go and so here it is that you're mining, and they can Google this. On average, you'll generate $50 to $100 a day in just mining, long as you don't have to pay an electricity bill. Now, let me tell you what you don't understand. So instead of buying,
so hold on, just as a note, you're saying that my house, my smart house, will be able to mine for me?
Yes.
Man, stop talking banana cream and pie. See, Ellen, now you're talking now. This next level.
No, absolutely. So what I'm saying is, here's the beauty about it. Because the mining aspect of it is the electricity cost that keeps you from mining in the Bahamas. You have to get below 10 cents. So what if you're generating electricity from the solar system or renewable power that you could mine and not impact your home? Because your home is being built net zero. LED, gas, stoves, very minimal. So your impact is there. So here's the beauty about it, though. You could also still, at the same time, even send power to the grid and get it back if you want to. It's a whole combination of things you can do. But what happens is, instead of just getting a crypto mining machine, what you'll do is you'll get a server. Here's the beauty about it. There's another concept that we don't use in the Bahamas, and that is called distributed storage, right? We have something called distributed computing. So the fact is that for crypto mining, quick primer and crypto mining uses the video card of your computer. For the mere fact that you're not going to be using this particular server or whatever you put inside of your house, you're not going to be working from it. So now what you can do is you have a hard drive in there that you could be put part of a network of distributed storage for which data is stored, and you're paid for that data storage. You also can now have what is called distributed
computing. This is
sci-fi
stuff. You know that, right?
This is what people are doing now, though. This is
right. And see, but I say sci-fi stuff because the Bahamas, we still complaining about our ATM machines charging us all this money. I mean, you're talking about something that is that for us, and that's why I love you, C. Allen, because the future is now. The things you've been talking about, that's where we are now. People followed you then, like 10, 15, 20, 30 years ago. They'd know that you've always been ahead of the game in terms of tech. So I want folks to really hear what C. Allen is saying. And I don't know how you're going to get this done in the Bahamas, though, C. Allen. I'm with you.
We would love to have 30,000 individuals, and hopefully government can buy into it. But even without them, we'll do it one at a time, 10 at a time, 20 at a time. What happens is we know there's a tremendous amount of opportunity for ownership. It's just for individuals to test the system. We want to educate people. We're going to create our own platform, but we want people, if they believe they can duplicate it, to do the same thing. Because essentially you have a computer in there. For people who don't understand, distributed computing is where people use hundreds or thousands of computers together to crunch, to act as a big, giant computer system to solve problems. It is being done every single day around the world. And so in the same thing, what you have is distributed data storage for where you have backup of backups. And so you can literally lose 1,000 computers out of a 5,000 configuration, or even lose depends on your configuration. You can lose 3,000 computers out of 4,000 computers, still have 100% of your data.
Shanna Lee asks a great, sorry. Shanna Lee asks a great question. What is the voltage capacity needed for mining on our grid without causing constant blackouts? 6,000 watts is needed to mine Bitcoin, 20 to 300 watt solar panels. Startup cost per home.
Right, we have all of that as part of our configuration. We're talking about an off-grid house. The grid will be a backup. We're not going to depend on Emera or BPL. You got to be crazy. I can't depend on them to keep my soda cold. And so you can imagine that you're talking about mining. And so this is where the government of the Bahamas itself has promised 100% financing for solar power. And so once you can prove that you can generate your own energy, you can actually do this because you have a combination of, first of all, reducing your energy consumption yourself by basically having a purpose-built home. And so the fact is that you're now talking about, let's use an example everybody knows about, a Telsa wall. So you have a Telsa wall, but let me add another part of this. We are actually also examining building actually communities that are self-sustaining. And so essentially what we have is a microgrid. We're going to have a microgrid where a number of homes simply contribute power to this grid and we just get it back in the nighttime. So you don't even need a Telsa wall or whatever it is within your house, because what you have created is a microgrid in your community that generate power using the solar energy or whatever renewable energy that's there. We are also going to advocate for the government of the Bahamas to allow us, we talk about PPP, not for the building, we talk about personal power production or whatever they call it, but we want individual power production, but we also want PPP. So I want the ability, like especially on Grand Bahama where the grid doesn't belong to the power company, I want the right to generate electricity in another location, pay whatever it costs for me to send it directly to my system. Or we will build communities that has the ability to generate more than our consumption, and we will put it part of a microgrid that where we will calculate and build purpose-built communities that is green and that's not needed.
Okay, hold that thought. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, I want to ask some basic questions with housing questions now, because tech still got basic housing questions. I need to know, what's my square footage? What's my startup cost? You know, how much data have you guys gathered to know if there is that great market out there? Because I like what you're saying, C. Allen. I like what you're saying. I feel like these smart contracts, they definitely will be taking us to the next place in this country where a lot of folks are talking crypto and non-fungible tokens and all of this stuff. I like it. I'm just trying to figure out now, how do we get into it? Like, how do you do it? Is it safe? Is it legal? You know, where is it binding? All of that good stuff folks want to know. You're listening to The Hit Back with Nahaja Black, Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. We'll be back right after this.
What happened to you? You look like you lost your paycheck.
Man, I just realized I got scammed out of a bunch of money. They said I won this contest and just needed me to send them some money so I could collect. I mean, to expedite something. Or was it to smooth the process?
Man, you're smarter than that. Protect yourself against scams and fraud by following these tips. If you know you didn't enter a competition, you can't win. Never pay to receive a cash prize. If you're being asked, you're being scammed. Check trusted internet sites for verification of information given to you. Do not give your banking details to people you don't know. If it sounds too good to be true, it is. Monitor your bank account regularly for any questionable transactions. Get more information at getmoneysmartbahamas.com.
Do you worry that you or your loved ones may get COVID-19 and possibly die from it? Getting a COVID-19 vaccine can lower your risk of severe illness or death from COVID-19. The Johnson & Johnson vaccine is available, and you only need one shot. One and done and fully vaccinated for now. Talk to a healthcare professional about your concerns and about getting vaccinated. To be safe, continue to wash your hands, wear your face mask, practice physical distancing, and get vaccinated.
This message has been brought to you by the Ministry of Health and this radio station.
It's the Hit Back with Nahaja Black. It's the Hit Back with Nahaja Black.
And we're back. You're listening to The Hit Back with Nahaja Black. Special thanks to my wonderful producer, April, who's on the board. And April has always been so patient with me. You know how many break cues she's given me that I have ruined? If this was Wally, I would have been cut 16 times. April, I love you here. Girl power. Love you, April. My wonderful producer, April. All right, I got my good friend C. Alan Johnson joining me right now, and we're talking about reimagining housing. My good friend C. Alan Johnson in Grand Bahama pushes my level of thinking, my capacity, my level of understanding, and I love him for it because the things that seem impossible are so possible. We just have no one. I'm just not smart enough to capture it. By the way, C. Alan, someone wants to know, can you ask Mr. Allen if he's hiring and how to get a resume to him? I have experience in the areas of the field that he's talking about. That's exciting news to me because if somebody know what you're talking about, C. Allen, in terms of technically,
Yes.
we hiring them.
They can send an email to c.allen.johnson@allencjohnson.com or c.allen.johnson@buybillborrow.com. That's a real catch there, buy, bill, borrow, because we're going to help people buy a home, build one, or borrow one until they own it.
I like that one. c.allen.johnson at
buildborrow.com.
By
Borrow.com.
build, B-I-L-L-E-D?
B-I-U-L-D.
B-O-B, sorry, I'm
B-U-
thinking money. I'm thinking money.
B-U-L-I-D. right.
B-U-I-L-D.
B-U-I-L-D.
D, yeah.
Borrow.
Sorry, having a slow moment too.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't remember.
So it's c.allen.johnson at Allen C. Johnson, A-L-L-E-N, cjohnson.com, and c.allen.johnson at buybillborrow.com.
Yeah. I was having a slow moment too. I couldn't spell. I was thinking about bills. I was totally not thinking about building my house. Someone says, I like the idea of the crypto for timeshare. Because of time, see, Alan, I want you just to go over.
But it's not timeshare. Let me correct that. This is what is called fractional own. This is what is called limited fractional ownership, because the individuals don't own the home and they don't have a right. They have a set number of weeks for which they can redeem, transfer, sell, or use. So let's say the 102 individuals that buy the 4 weeks from you, that get you to where you are. You could have your 2,000 square foot house, if that's what you need. Maybe you need a 2-bedroom house, but at the same time, you can have your 600, 700, 800 square foot house on a 1/4 acre lot. I know it's somewhat harder for doing New Providence, but the beauty about this is you look at the income potential of having this house, having the people redeem it for the other 6 months that you'll have available. We're in the tourism industry. If you hear Joy Jibrilu, she says tourism is going to be uptick. The whole concept is that we have to begin to market the tourism numbers where we get the 7 million tourism. The problem is the 7 million tourists already comes on a all-inclusive hotel. So it requires some participation of government for the marketing of it, so we could begin to take that thing where we have the ships where we could move the actual flying in. So this also has to work in conjunction with people developing tours, with the people developing things for people to do. And this is where you say we are in the hospitality business. So when you begin to talk about tourism, you're talking about sports tourism, you talk about health tourism, you talk about wellness tourism, you talk about educational tourism, you talk about all of these aspects of tourism. These are things what people do. You have, where we have digital nomads, all of these things. So we have to create the environment where we begin to have smart communities, smart homes, smart cities, and smart islands, and eventually a smart country. And we talk about this blue economy, green economy, orange economy, digital economy, knowledge economy, conceptual economy, aquamarine economy, all these very different models. And these are all part of the PLP manifesto. So if these are to occur, then we should actually take ownership of the housing market, because these individuals are not bringing housing with them, nor are they bringing tents or dooms to live in. So they have to have some place to stay. So if we are going to move towards this 8, 9, 10 million people, more so where we'll try to move towards actually the fly in and creating the safe, Gilbert Morris stated best, some safe COVID-safe zones for individuals. These VRBOs, as opposed to the B&B, provides a unique environment, because we even have we have a company that specializes in environmental science that will actually begin to certify properties that will bring it in as COVID-free, COVID-prepared. And so what it is we can reimagine the Bahamas as we know it, while reimagining tourism and hospitality to basically build back better, stronger together. And so that's the most important thing, is that we need not to exclude Bahamians in this, because DeFi gives us a unique opportunity. if you look at Atlantis and Bahama and all these other hotels, they take reservations weeks, months, and years in advance. Why is it so hard for us to create a platform for which Bahamians can also take reservations in advance in a secure environment, monies in escrow, and develop and have it develop? And we'll have an advanced marketing thing to create a demand that we have to continuously build out to basically create an environment for Bahamians to take ownership of the economy. And so
See,
this
Alan,
is not
let me ask you
fantasy.
this. Yeah, and I like that. I like right where you stop. These aren't fantasies. These are very doable, right? Very, very doable. Let me ask you before my internet it freaks out again, because I need a smart house apparently, because my internet freaking right out. But
you need a better mesh network in the house.
You right on that. I'm gonna talk to the IT guy that I married in a minute after the show. But
I can send you a note. There's a company here offering a tremendous deal. You can't beat the price for a mesh network. I won't mention it because they'll have to pay you. They have to pay you for the ad.
Oh heck yeah, we ain't gonna mention it until they pay for the ad. But anyways, we digress. The question then is, okay, just because the idea that you have, and for those who are just tuning in, I want you to relay the idea again. What you're saying is, listen, we want to create housing, smart homes. There's a vacancy. There's an opportunity, not a vacancy, but an opportunity, right?
Yes.
Where we have this
smart
demand.
Purpose-built homes. Yes.
Yeah. So there's that demand there. But a lot of folks, the traditional banking is holding us up. And there's an opportunity where we can go through these smart contracts where you put your home or the project, not the mortgage, but this project of crowdfunding on the blockchain, create a smart contract where people, book in advance. So creating like this tourism model, but pre-booking, right? That helps to pay for the home. And they buy up weeks. So I can buy like you said, 4 weeks of time in the Bahamas. And this is done on a smart contract. At the end of this process, I do not have a mortgage. Nope. My house is smart, right? Because you're inclusive of this building, is off the grid, solar, etc. How long would this take, C. Allen? And
if you're looking, because for instance, let's use the example where we are almost to the point of finished building out our platform, right? We really want to do a soft launch beginning next week. But for you, on that contract where you want to build at home, we're only looking for 104 people out of the 7 million tourists that comes here to the Bahamas who actually believe that you have a product and you would have something they could use and something they could trade. See, this is not just for them using the 4 weeks or 5 weeks that you would give them, say for the $5,000. This is an investment for them that they can trade, they can have value on, and they can actually have, we have a revenue and income models where the token can go up in value. So the main fact is, so it is just not a simple, you buy and you're waiting 5 years, 8 years to use your product. This is something where they can enjoy a week or two in the Bahamas, sell the other 3 weeks and get their full money back. And so this is, and it's all set on a smart contract. And if you know how the blockchain works, they could transfer ownership to wherever they want to take it over, or even trade it for vacation to another place. They may want to go to TCI or Jamaica, and somebody who went to Jamaica may want to come to the Bahamas. So it's all part of that pool of transferring ownership. And we will basically take people from concept to construction. And so essentially based on the home and the availability of things, we figured that it could take maybe up to 6 months or so for you to find your 104 people based on from the conceptual drawings and preparation. Because remember, you have to design the house you want. And even for people who want to basically look at this as an investment, if the house doesn't cost you anything, literally speaking, we have the opportunity, if we look at this constructively, we can build 20,000 homes. Remember, so we say, listen to this carefully, 20,000 homes would require 20,000 times, let's say 100 people. And we have to ask, will we have that many people come to the Bahamas yearly? 300,000 people yearly. We say we have 7 million, 4 million, whatever the amount it is. But we're actually building a purpose-built environment for individuals to visit the Bahamas. We are going to have to rethink tourism. We have to rethink hospitality. And so essentially this is a collective environment where we can have groupings of individuals begin to become involved, but we are literally moving people into home ownership with literally we're ironing out the details where, for instance, we may charge as low as $300 preparatory fund for us to sit and discuss and draw up the details for you. And we have discussed and argued about this, that our worst case scenario we want is a total of $3,000 approximately for individuals to actually take them beyond the case of concept. And so but if government begin to become involved, maybe we can have government co-op this, and let's do this together. Because let me give you another part of this. Right now, as it stands right now, they pay up to 15% to Airbnb or VRBO. They also now have to pay 10% to government. That's 25%. Plus, they may have to do some marketing. We're hoping that we could engage government, that we will be able to do our own marketing for this SaaS stuff on our own platform. So instead of you automatically losing 25% of your revenue plus having to pay for marketing, maybe we could actually incorporate it within this, giving government their 10%, and worst case scenario is another 7% total that covers your whole booking, marketing, and everything, and handling of your platform. And it doesn't cost you anything because, again, this is all consumer where and the person who consuming it is the one who pays. And so there's a lot more information. It wasn't an hour to go through, but I want to plant the ideas, and maybe we'll have leadership in this country stop trying to do the same thing, expecting different results.
I like this.
The world has changed, and we must change along with it. During COVID, the world has accelerated for 1 year every 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
So we've been locked down for 18 months. We are now 6 years into the future. And so what we have to do is we have to rethink what we've been doing and rebuild the Bahamas on a new platform. We have to build into the future. This is essentially what I'm proposing. I'm proposing we build into the future and then have the people join us there. And so, so it's and I would challenge bring your economists and anyone involved in the digital arena, and anyone involved in distributed data or distributed computing or crypto mining or in energy production to let's have a conversation. Let's crunch the numbers. Let's see what it is. I've talked to people like Telsa and others who are excited about the opportunity about building communities that generate power for themselves. They are very excited concerning the location of the Bahamas with solar energy. And so there's a host of possibilities, and even reimagining our grid system the way it is. We talk about going to net zero. But here's the beauty about it. Imagine a home that also creates carbon credits, because no garbage goes out in respect, plastics, everything that is combined. And
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
And this is a great question. How resilient will these homes be? One storm and the investors lose their investment?
No, say it again. Repeat the question.
So they're saying, how resilient will these homes be? Will one storm cause them to lose their entire investment?
We will only guarantee up to Hurricane 5, but we will have insurance.
You're a funny guy. And so, I know
because you're not building cardboard houses. We're building meeting the Bahamas standards, and hopefully we develop some new, stronger standards. But technology now exists now. For us to embrace technology in the building of homes, the cost of home when you embrace technology is reduced too. Also, we're looking at bulk building. So when you begin to bulk build, you actually have reduction of costs. And so we will encourage. So this is not just, we will start house by house by house. Hopefully we looking at our initial of maybe a few dozen. But if we actually can educate people, and we would delay our initial launch, if we could educate people for them to understand it. So maybe we will move on to an education platform of questions and answers like we're doing step by step, go into some churches. The one important thing we want, those thousands of individuals, those 42,000 individuals that work for civil service, the government need to get rid of them, right? They can't afford to fire them because there's nowhere to go. We need 80,000 jobs to replace 5,000 jobs per year we didn't create. So what this does is this creates individuals that they could sit at home, participate in the tourism product. If preparing a room is too much for you, then tell you what, we're gonna have some people who are gonna come up with house cleaning services who will take that $150 cleaning fee, right? That they'll take that from you. And by the way, if you want to, you could throw in a $10 a day energy fee. So it's so much variation.
Yeah,
this.
I like it.
Yes, I'm saying I see somebody ask about backup power. This is a well thought out energy developing system. Guess what we're going to throw in for your power for your backup? We'll put 3 e-cars in your yard. And if worst case scenario, if the sun doesn't shine, your backup generator doesn't work, your Tesla wall doesn't work, you can plug your car into your house and run your house for a day.
See, Alan, we gotta go. I appreciate this. I love this that we are thinking this way, reimagining housing. I like this. You gave me some things to think about. We gotta go, but I appreciate you so much, buddy. And as per
Thank
usual,
you for having me.
You got me thinking big thoughts now. I like that smart contract house, buddy. I like that.
Okay.
That's a pre-booking. We'll talk soon. You're listening to the Hit Back with Nahaja Black, Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. I like when folks challenge us and tell us to think differently. I like that. I like it a lot. You're having a good one, everyone. Take care of yourself. See you tomorrow. I got a show that is all about cryptocurrency, mining, learning about it. Everyone, I get a lot of calls and questions, and it's a big thing in the news. Everyone have a great day. You're listening to the Hit Back with Nahaja Black, Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. We're out.